welcome back. We are going to go ahead and start the tutorial. I'm going to show you how to construct each one of the pages for this mini album. So I did not do, I did not show you how to make the covers and wrap the covers. If you go back to my last project where I made the, what did I call it? Coffee and Friends? Coffee and Friends, I believe it was. I actually give you a step-by-step tutorial on how to create the booklet, I'm sorry, the actual book itself, how to wrap it and everything. You do this one exactly the same way. I think you just, instead of 6.5 by 7.5, which was that book, this is 6.5 by 8. So all you have to do is make the adjustments you can follow that tutorial, but use the adjustments for this project, if that makes sense. So this book is 6.5 inches wide by 8 inches tall, and the spine is 2.5. Okay, so and I don't walk through the binding system either. Everybody has their own favorite binding method. A lot of people like that hinge binding method. That always gives me a headache. So I use a different binding method. If you would like to know, you actually can't see because I covered it up. If you'd like to see, I can actually forward you a video of the designer that created the binding method. I'd be happy to share that with you. So just reach out to me on YouTube, or you can send me an email and we can go through that. But so we're going to start with the page construction, and we're going to start, just because it's on the left, we're going to start with the left side, inside left cover, the front inside cover pocket. Easy for me to say. All right, so you want a piece of cardstock. Hoping you're able to see this, okay? So you want a piece of cardstock. Again, whatever color you've chosen, is, you can use whatever color you want. If you want to make every page different color, knock yourself out. But again, I'm using the artisan cardstock in the linen color. And this is why I love the artisan cardstock. See that? See that edge? You can see how this is, how beautiful is that? No cracks, nothing, smooth, super smooth, looks just so professional. It's gorgeous. Anyhow, okay, so let's put our cover on. Let's work on our pocket. So you want a piece of cardstock that's 4.5 by 6 3/4, and all the dimensions will be in the cutting guide below. And as always, anytime, you can reach out to me if you have any questions or suggestions or whatever, if you have any problems. I try to answer as quickly as I can, but if it's during the week, I do work a full-time job, so I might not get back to you right away, but I will do my best. So anyway, let's go back. So 4.5 by 6 3/4, and I'm testing something here. So normally I would say score it at 1/2 inch on 3 sides. I'm just going to show here you score 1/2 inch on this side, 1/2 inch, then you come over here and score at 6 1/4, and then you rotate it and you would score at 1/2 inch again. So essentially you're scoring at 1/2 of an inch on 3 sides. Oh, this light is going to make me insane. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is fold along those score lines, and we're going to burnish. Give it a good crease. Just making a standard pocket, and if you followed any of my videos before, that's all we're doing. Whoopsie. And then we're just going to, where those 2 score lines meet, we're just going to cut out this little square. So we're just going to angle the corner on both of those sides, and that's what you end up with. You see that? Okay, then we're going to do the same thing over here. And just what that's doing is just getting rid of, we're cutting away the part of the paper that's going to just cause a lot of bulk once we fold it. So then this next step is your personal preference. I do not like to use Scor tape on my pockets because Scor tape doesn't dry completely. Scor tape is fantastic. I use it everywhere else. But on my pockets, I like to use wet glue. So what I do is I just come in here, put a little teeny tiny dab right there, and kind of hold that for a second so it actually gets the pocket started. And then just add my glue. Add some glue down here. Okay, then you're going to grab your book. Then what I did with this one is center it as best you can from here to here, because obviously you don't want to go over that edge. Whoops. Okay. And come back with your bone folder and burnish, burnish, burnish till you can't burnish anymore. So I know you're probably thinking, why are you writing all over your page? Well, that's going to get cut up or covered up with pattern paper anyway. So yeah, so what you can do, if this bothers you over here, having, the smaller pocket, if it bothers you and you want pattern paper there, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I don't mind it at all. I think it looks good. So my pattern paper will just come up from here and up. If you want pattern paper across the whole thing, then just go ahead and put your pattern paper down first before you adhere your pocket. So, make sense? Okay, so we can actually set that aside. We are going to go ahead and start the page construction. So you will have, in this book, you will have 4 base pages. And the base pages are made up of, and of course, all right, so the base pages are, you're going to want 4 that are 6 inches by 7.5 inches. Right? Is that right? Oh, sorry. No, yeah, 6. Oh, sorry. 6 by 8.5. You're going to want 4 of those. And then you're going to put it in your scoreboard, score it at 1/2 inch on this side and 1/2 inch. Let me do that for you. So on the 8.5 inch side, you're going to put it in your scoreboard and score 1/2 inch. Rotate it and then do 1/2 inch. And you're going to do that 4 times. Then you're also going to want 4 pieces that are 6, that's the one, 6 by 7.5. Okay, and you're not going to score these. So go back to your 6 by 8.5 inch page that you scored, and we're going to fold on that crease. Fold on the score line and give it a good crease. Okay, so what we're doing is actually making a sleeve. So then what we want to do is take your wet glue. If you prefer Scor tape, knock yourself out. I just prefer wet glue for this. I know Scor tape makes it go much quicker, but so then I just come down here, pick a side, pick a corner that you want to line up. If you have a favorite corner, then we're just going to adhere that and burnish, burnish, burnish. Make sure you get good contact. And then what I always do is open it up just to make sure none of the glue seeped out. because the last thing you want to do is glue your sleeve shut. And then just go back over here, lay this side down, and then what I do is, you can see I have a little bit of overhang there. That doesn't bother me too much, but I'm going to trim that off. And I know I'm going to cause a problem. I knew that was going to happen. So get your big scissors. These are some big scissors. And then you can either put this in your paper trimmer, or you can just trim that right off like it never happened. So there is your base page. It's that simple. So you've all seen me work with these sleeves before, right? So that's base page number 1. Okay, so then we're going to want to do these 2 flaps and this big pocket. Okay, so you're going to want 2 pieces of your preferred color cardstock. You want 2 pieces. They're going to be 4.5 by 6, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch, right? So it's a kind of a gatefold, so you're going to want to score 1 on the left side, 1 on the right side. Okay? So let's fold over on those score lines. Okay, we'll set those aside. And then for your pocket, you want a 6.5 by 6 3/4. Okay, and we're going to score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So you're going to go, this is the 6.5, or yeah, this is the 6.5 inch side. You're going to score 1/2 inch, turn 1/2 inch, turn one more time, and do 1/2 inch. So that's what I mean when I say score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. All right, so let's go ahead and fold on that score line and crease it, just like we did that pocket that's on the inside cover. Okay, so at that intersection, let's go ahead and trim away that bulk. We'll do that one more time. Okay, and then what I also like to do on these pockets, just angle that tab to stop your tags from getting stuck. So this is what it will look like. So you see, I mean, it doesn't matter that the angle doesn't exactly match. I mean, you can, whatever, knock yourself out, but that actually is okay for me. But see, this is where we took out those extra corners. All right. So then we are going to go ahead and just put together our pocket again. Again, I just like to do this to kind of just help it. Makes it easier too to hold when you're putting glue on the rest of it. It's not flapping all over and getting all over you. All right, so let's go ahead and put some glue. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I get glue everywhere. Okay, so now we are going to take our base page, right? So you can have an opening on both the right and the left. And then we're just going to go ahead and do as we did before. Center, or if you want the pocket over, I wouldn't recommend putting the pocket further on the left-hand side, because that's where your binding is going to be, and you don't want it to be too close to the binding edge. So let's go ahead and just make sure that makes good contact As you can see, everything fits in the pocket. Alright, so then, bring over your gatefold pieces. Now you can angle these two if you want. You don't really need to because there isn't going to be any tag sliding in there. So I mean, it's up to you. I don't mind it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave mine, and then I'm going to put some glue. So I'm going to add, or it's kind of hard to see because of the light, I'm going to line my edge of my flap along the edge of the pocket, okay? So I like to turn mine upside down. Just makes it easier to see. Put this down. Hope that's not blocking you. I'm just going to go ahead and line it up at the bottom and the side. And then just make sure everything sticks nicely. I like that this has, I don't know if you can see it, I like that this has this tiny little extra bit. It'll actually, a nice little trim will show there. Because when you put it, you're going to put your pattern paper in, you're going to cover the entire inside. Like, you won't see this. You won't see that flap. So, I like it. All right, and as per usual, Anne-Marie's upside down. So you see, and I am not going to take that off. It's going to get covered with paper anyway, and they're both the same size. Good gravy. Oh, anyhow, so let's go ahead and put your adhesive on your next one. Put it on. Line it up at the bottom. Make sure everything matches up everywhere. Give it some good varnish. If you have a dry baby wipe or a paper towel, that's always very helpful in case any glue oozes out anywhere. All right, so I decided on mine to use a magnet closure. You can either use a magnet or you can use some really cute seam binding or ribbon. Actually would be good. Yeah, let's go with the magnet. So these are the basic gray magnets. These are the large ones, I believe. I know Tammy carries these in her store. Okay, so you want to take one positive, one negative, or one plus and one minus. And I like to put the negative on the bottom. Don't know why, I just always do. So I'm going to remove that. Come on. I swear, when the camera's not running, this never takes forever. So, decide where you want to put your magnet. You don't want to be too close to the flap because you still want to cover the pattern paper. So I'm thinking I'm going to come in, what is that, about an inch there maybe? And stick it down one side. Oh, goodness. Stick down the other side. And then open it up. And then just for a little added security, I like to put a little strip of Scor tape to hold that down. In case the glue should break loose. I mean, I don't know that it's ever happened, but just in case, I like to have that little bit of security there. So there you go. There's the front of page 1, and then you're just going to make a tag, and I will have the tag dimensions and the down below. So that's page 1. So you want to flip that over, and we're going to work on page 2, and I will show you page 2. So we just made this page. Now we're just going to make this, oops, I'll help to put it on the screen. We're just going to make this little flap. So very, very simple. You're going to want to get a piece of your chosen cardstock color and cut it at 5 1/4 by 7 with the 7-inch side in your scoreboard. Oops, can't see that. With the 7-inch side in your scoreboard, you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch. Okay? And then we're just going to go ahead and fold on that score line. Give it a good burnish, good crease, good fold, whatever you want to call it. Oh, excuse me. What you want to make sure you do, don't be upside down like me, just to make sure when you turn your page over, your base page, that you have the right side up. So again, you do not have to angle these. It's going to get covered with pattern paper, but you can if you want to. Now that's a great bead of glue. I opened a new bottle of art glitter glue today, and it's always fun. So I definitely am going to turn my page upside down because that's the way I do these. And then I'm just going to try to center this on this page, lining up the corner, the edge of the flap. Again, wiping off any glue that comes out. And there you go. If you wanted to, you could put the flap on this side, on the right side. You can have the flap open downwards, from the bottom. However you want it. So that's what I did. If you would like, so once you put some pattern paper on this, and once it sits in the book, it's not going to flap up like that. It'll eventually lay flat. And then when you put pattern paper on the front and the back, it'll weigh it down. So that's page 1 and page 2 finished. All right, so let's move on. Let me get my notes. To page 3. So this is 1 and 2. This is page 3. We're going to do these cute little pockets with these cute little tags. Everything's cute. Everything's so cute. I've already made the base page, so you didn't have to sit here and watch me make the base pages again. You can always stop and go back if you need to. So the pockets, you want, again, you can do 2 different colors if you want. You can do whatever color you want. I'm just sticking with the cream color cardstock. So I cut mine to 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. All right, and with the 4 1/2 inch side in your scoreboard, we're going to score at a 1/2 inch, rotate it, score a 1/2 inch, rotate it, score a 1/2 inch. So again, that's scoring on 3 sides, on 2 short and 1 long side. We can call it that. So this is the short side, this being the long side. So you can see I made a little boo-boo on mine. I already made the pocket, but I scored it on the 3 1/2 inch side instead. But that's okay. This will get covered up with cardstock. Nobody will ever know. So what we're going to do is fold on our score lines. Oopsie. Okay. Then let's go ahead and get rid of the bulk. I'm going to cut out that little corner, or the little square. And because this will have tags in it, I am going to angle the top of the tab. Right, so there you go. That's just a mini version of the other pocket we just made. So go ahead and add your adhesive. Give that a minute. So, again, if you want, let me show you. So these two pockets are going to line up here. They're not exactly the same height as this page. Oops. As this page. So if you want to put your pattern paper down first, you can. Again, that little strip doesn't bother me. But you know, that's you. It's your project. You do what you want. I think it's nice to have a little bit of the contrast. So you can go ahead and line that up. Make sure it's straight. And again, this is another reason why I like to use wet glue. Because if you just have a little more play time. Because if that was Scor tape, there was no way I would have been able to wiggle that to get that straight. That was stuck. That would have been stuck. It's kind of a you get what you get. All right. So then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to line this one up. Oops. You want to make sure you don't go beyond, obviously, the bottom of the page or beyond the left side, because your binding will tear it apart. And just make sure you give it a really good... See, the reason we cut out those corners on a pocket is you don't have any bulk there. If not, it would have been like, it would have been fat on each one of those two corners, and it would have stuck up, and it just doesn't look nice. So this is what I was talking about. If it's going to bother you to have that little space. Now this one, I didn't take the pockets all the way to the end. I just left a little tiny space there. So you could always put a little piece of pattern paper, like I said on here. This would cover up, and it looks like you meant to put a little piece of trim there. So it's up to you. And then I took a piece of pattern paper and put it here. All right, so then next, these are those two tags that fit inside here. And these are 3 1/4 by 5 3/8. Oops. 3 1/4 by 5 3/8, and they just slide right inside here. And on my book, I also added these couple of 3x4 cut-aparts. And this cardstock is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. I cut it down so you can see that it fits. It fits in there nicely. Okay, let's put that back before I mess it up. So again, that's your base page. This would be your binding side. And this is the side where the big tag would go. So that is page number 3 is done. This is a very easy book. This is the one where I say let the pattern paper do the work, because the pattern paper is awesome. You know, you don't have to have like a crazy fancy flaps and everything, which I love, you know, and I do a lot of those, but just loving the simplicity of this one. So next is page, what is this, 4 and 5. So make sure you turn this over, make sure you have the right side up. All right, so for page 4, and page 5, we are going to cut 2 pieces of cardstock that are, actually I should have wrote 5 by 5 1/2. Okay, so when you put it in your scoreboard with the 5 1/2 on the top right, I lost my thingamajiggy. Where is it? Then you take your Scor tool, score it a 1/2 inch, rotate it to the 5-inch side, and score it a 1/2 inch. So we could say on this one we're scoring one short side and one long side at a 1/2 inch. Okay? So we're going to fold along those score lines. So then what you can decide is, well, let me glue this down and then I will show you. But see, that's what I mean. You have to be careful because if I didn't catch that, that would have glued, excuse me, my pocket, and I would have lost a 1/2 inch worth of pocket, which I've been there before. Oh dang, I forgot to say, we want to make sure that you cut out the bulk like we did on the other ones. And you're just going to line this up on the left, or yeah, on the bottom left of the page. And just give it a really good burnish, really good crease. And you can see you have that pocket. You can leave that open. So let me take you to, that is page 4. Keep that handy. Let's go to page 5. So that's this one. This is another one of those ones where I have a little bit of overhang. Just going to go ahead and pretend that it didn't even happen. I think I might have cut it open. Oh no, I didn't. Whew. Okay. So see, I had that much of overhang. All right, so this is page 5. Again, it's 5 by 5.5. Score at, you can put this in the 5.5 side in your scoreboard and score it at a 1/2 inch. Rotate it to the 5-inch side, score it at a 1/2 inch. Sorry, I think I said that wrong. Put it with the 5.5 inch side, you could score it at 5 inches and then rotate it and score it at 1 inch. So we're going to fold that along your score lines. Cut out the bulk. And angle your corners. You also hear people say tab your corners or miter your corners. So this is going to be a mirror. The right hand side is a mirror image of the left hand side. So we're going to actually just, the opening on the pocket is on this side on page 4. This is the opening on page 5, just so the openings face each other, if you want to put it that way. So let's go ahead and form our pocket. I'm really using a lot of glue today. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's a new bottle and it's coming out faster. Anyway. Okay. So now I have glue all over me. That's why a wet baby wipe is handy. Okay, so yeah, let's make sure that lines up. A really good burnish. Okay, so there you have pages 4 and page 5. So now you can make the decision if you want to fold over these edges like I did. You don't have to, but if you want to, the way I would suggest is, what is that, about 1.5 inches? You can come over and you can make a mark at about 1.5 inches there, and then you could come up maybe 1.5 inches, or you can just fold this over to whatever's pleasing to your eye, and then after you put your pattern paper down, and then just glue it down. I think on this one, I'm just going to leave mine flat. Okay, once you put pattern paper on, it's going to weigh down once the book closes on top of it. You're going to be good. So this was your page 3. This was page 4. This was page 5. So you see we're moving through this pretty quickly. Let me go back to page 5. Yeah, you can actually, before you put your pocket down, you can put your pattern paper down, but because you can see inside there, you can put the pocket down, then put the pattern paper down. It will fit in there. Most times because most everybody leaves at least an eighth of an inch or 1/4 of an inch edge. So yeah, so you don't have to worry about if you put down the pocket without putting down your pattern paper. It's not a big deal. It'll fit in there nicely. You just slide it in and you're good to go. All right, so page 6 is this page. Let me grab my page 6 stuff. Uh-oh, where's my page 6? Am I missing a page? No, it's right in front of me. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, so these are all the goodies that you need for page 6. Your base page, obviously, we made it for page 5, and then the back is page 6. All right, so I got a little bit of a squish there, but that'll get covered with pattern paper. You won't ever see that. I hate when that happens. All right, so one of the tags is 5 by 5. You have another that's 3 1/4 by 5. Then this little flappy doodle right here, that is 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Okay, so that's going to go on your scoreboard with 8.5 inches alongside, 8.5 inches. You're going to go ahead and score at 4, and then score again at 8. And then what that does is give you that 1/2 inch tab. Okay, and then this, you fold it over. Oops. Make sure you give it a good crease at both of the folds. Right. So then, again, if you want to put down your pattern paper first, you can, but in this case I wouldn't, because you want to cover up this flap. This is what's going to hold it on the page. So yeah, there won't be any worries because it'll have the 1/2 inch flap and your pattern paper will cover it all up nicely. Okay, so at this point you have to decide where you want. Oh, let me tell you also, sorry, this is a 1.5 by 7 inch closure. On mine, I think I stopped at 6.5 inches. You can see up here, you score it at 1/2 inch. That's where the tab is. I decided to leave the tab visible so that it bends like from there. But I feel like I didn't have enough room here. I would have liked to have a bigger tag inside there. So I actually extended it like 1/2 inch so we could put more tags in. So what I did was put this in the scoreboard on the 7 inch side and scored it at 1/2 inch. Let's give it a fold and crease. Then I'm going to do it again the other way. Let's make sure it lines up. Okay, did I say it was 1.5 by 7? I think I did. Okay, we're going to put that down first. So you can decide whether you want this in the middle of your page, if you want this on the right-hand side of your page. I kind of did it off-center to the right on mine. So again, it's however you want to do it. And it also looks like I did my, oh yeah, I take back what I said. You should probably put down the pattern paper first, but you don't have to. We will actually hide. We will hide the closure. All right, so take your glue. You could use Scor tape for this part if you wanted to. So I'm going to turn this upside down. And I'm going to put mine in, I don't know, 2 inches maybe. 1, 2, 2 inches from the edge. Okay. Okay, so you see how that's a little longer there than mine is, which is good because I think you can get a lot more tags in there. So let's go ahead and grab, again, you can use a ribbon or a seam binding or jute or baker's twine, a swing tab. I can't think of any other closures off the top of my head, but I'm just going to do a magnet for purposes of the video. Where's my pokey tool? Right, so again, let's just take off the backing. I want it close to the edge, but I don't want it too close because I want to cover it up with pattern paper. Okay. All right, and then I just put it in my scoreboard, square it all up, give it a good push. Pull it open. All right, I'm going to take some Scor tape. Hello, where are you? Good gravy. See? Make sure that gets a good stick. Okay. So there's that. Then let's just take our little booklet that we made, and we're going to glue, again, for this part you can do Scor tape because it doesn't have any tags or anything. So I'm going to turn this, and since I came in 2 inches this way, I'm going to come 2 inches from the top. So I'm just going to go ahead, actually I can't see that because it's too bright. I'm going to do it this way. Oops, you probably can't see that. So I am going to just line it up on my grid. I'm going to come down 2 inches from the top. And I'm going to come in like, I don't know, like maybe 1/8 of an inch. Because I want to avoid this edge getting caught up in the binding. So I just moved it over ever so slightly. You won't even notice. It'll be just like the border that shows around your pattern paper. So there you go. How cute. All right, and then, so there's your 5x5. Whoop, your 5x5 tag fits in there really well. Your 3.5 by 5. I don't know, what else do I have around here? I don't have any other tags. Actually, we'll take the Michael's earrings tag, and they can kind of live behind this little booklet. And there we go. Oh. Well, that was stupid. Okay, and There, and then that acts as a stopper. Cute. Oh, and FYI, when you're ready to put down your pattern paper, with this, all you would do is remove the adhesive backing from the Scor tape. And that gives it actually a little more strength, right? So the pattern paper, it'll hold the magnet to the pattern paper as well. Don't know if I needed to say that, but I thought I probably should. All right, so that is page 6. Goodness. All right, so that's page 5. That's page 6. Page 7 is the super fun double belly band pocket page. All right, so I've got a lot of stuff here. All right, that is the inside back cover. Okay, so this is your last base page, or last sleeve. All right, so we are going to make the belly band. So you're going to want a piece of cardstock 2.5 by 7. Going to put it in our scoreboard on the 7-inch side or the long side. Score it at 1/2 inch and also score it 6.5. Okay. Then you're going to, for the top pocket, we're going to do again 2 by 7. We want it just to be slightly a little bit smaller than the bottom. 2 by 7. On the 7-inch side, we'll just score it at 1/2 inch, and then also at 6.5 inches. Right. So we're going to take the bottom part, the 2.5 inch piece. We're going to fold on the score lines and burnish. Fold and burnish. While we're here, let's do the same to the 2-inch piece. Okay. So what I am going to do, because there will be tags going in and out of this pocket, I'm going to go ahead and angle the corner, or angle the tab, miter the edge, tab the corners. I don't know. Different people call it different things. Okay. Alright, so let's put down the fatter size first, the fatter belly band, so that's 2.5 by 7. It's going to give yourself some, again, I would use wet glue here. And then you can just decide where you want it. Do you want the belly band to be up high? Do you want it down low? Do you want it in the middle? I'm going to go for middle-ish. So what is this? This is 7.5 inches. Let's just go middle-ish. If you don't know this trick, using your scoreboard to line things up with the edges of your pages to help keep things straight, it's awesome. I use it all the time. So you can see there's a huge pocket, the belly band. So this will slide through there. So then, this is the 2 by 7-inch piece that we scored at 1/2 inch on each side. I'm going to put some more glue. We're going to layer this right above the bigger belly band, or right on top of the bigger belly band. Try to find the center of it. And you know what? Sometimes when it's all the same color paper, it gets lost for me. Like, I don't know if my eyes are getting old or what the deal is, but I just like to see. So try to center that on top of the bottom layer. And I chose not to put pattern paper on the bottom layer. You can, of course, if you want to. I definitely put pattern paper on the top. because it just actually looks like a nice border. Like once, actually you can't tell with, actually you can. So you can see this is the top layer that we just stuck down. So I just think it's super cute. All right, so you can kind of see that there. There's the bottom. Let me grab this piece. And that's the normal belly band. And then this is the top layer belly band. So you can see it. You can get extra tags in there, which is super, super fun. And then you could use anything to put down here as a stopper. You can use a chipboard piece. You know, most collections have chipboard pieces. I didn't have that with this one, but you can take any one of the stickers and put it on a piece of chipboard and turn it into a stopper. You could take a square or, you know, a shape of, you could fussy cut out something from one of the pieces of pattern paper, actually glue it onto some chipboard first, and then, or lightweight chipboard I would recommend, and then cut it out. If you have a die cut machine, if you have punches, you could use a punch. Yeah, you could use pretty much anything as a stopper to help hold your tags so that they don't fall through the page. So anyway, that was page 7. And then page 8, I will show you again what I did on page 8. I just left it as a regular flat, like there's no dimension on here except for this. What is it? Shamrock. This is all just the pattern paper. So this piece, this was, where did I put that? Anybody see where I put that? I think. Oh, here it is. So that's page 7. Turn it over as page 8. I just took one of the 4x6s, the cut aparts, and I obviously cut it down because this is exactly 6 inches. So I would trim just like 1/8 of an inch off of each side, or you really don't even have to because it doesn't hang over, but I prefer to see that little bit of a border. So then that leaves you with, what is that, 3 3/8? Or is that exactly 3 1/2? No, that's 3 1/2. So you can cut 2 pieces that are 3 inches by 3 1/2, and you can set those here and then put a strip of ribbon across or whatever, you know, or you can make it go this way if, you know, whatever the orientation is, or you can just use a pretty piece of pattern paper. You know, whatever you want to do there, sky's the limit. So those guys are the pages. I mean, they're very, very easy to do. Again, I'm not going to show the binding because it was actually created by a different designer, so it's not fair for me to show it, but I'll be happy to share it with you if you want to reach out to me separately outside of this video. So those are that is the front and side cover and the 4 pages. Again, it's super easy. But now we're going to actually do, again, it's still easy. We're going to do the Waterfall Pocket that goes on the inside back cover. And you'll see that this could go on any page anywhere in the book. I just chose to put it in the back cover. So let me move my pages aside so I can show you. Let's put them all back in order. So that's 8 and 7, 6 and 5, 4 and 3, 2 and 1. All right, so what we have is a piece of cardstock. It's 3 3/4 by 9. Okay, and then we're going to score it 1/2 inch on 3 sides, right? 1 long side and 2 short sides. Then we have the Waterfall Base. That's going to be 3 1/2 by 8. Then you can decide how many waterfall pages you want. I like 6 waterfall pages. There's actually room to actually add a couple others, but I just decided to go with 6. So you're going to need 6 pieces of your cardstock that are 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. And then you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. You can score them all at a 1/2 inch with the 4 3/4 side in your scoreboard, 1/2 inch here on the short side. Okay? And then we have a closure. This is 1 1/2 by 5 1/2. You're going to put it in, we'll line it up. On the 5 inch side, you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch. Okay? So, and then the last thing you have for the 5 by 7 booklet, you're going to cut yourself a piece of your cardstock at 7 inches by 10 inches. Put it in your scoreboard. Basically score it in half at 5 inches. Fold it. And burnish. Then you can decorate the front. Okay, set that aside. All right, so first we're going to make the pocket. Okay, so just like we've done a couple of times, I'm going to cut out the bulk. There's going to be tags, so you're going to want to angle your corner, angle your tabs, and then remove your bulk. Okay. All right, so with these longer ones, it's a little tricky. So I just try to coax it. Give it a good crease. Let's bring your empty book over and the inside back cover. That's where this is going to go. Okay. Make sure it fits. Okay. And let's go ahead and form the pocket. Get some glue. All right, I am going to turn my book this way so it's easy for me to see the oops. So it's easier for me to see the edge, and I am going to line up the leftmost corner and the bottom first. And then the rest just kind of falls into place. If you're lucky. So, go ahead and give that a good crease and a good burnish at the same time. Okay, so there is your pocket. So, oops. You can see the pocket, it goes all the way to the, I don't know if you can see it, I can see it. It goes all the way to the bottom. Okay, we can set this aside for now. All right, so now let's take your waterfall base. Let's get this out of here. All right, so actually let me pull my back over. So this is actually going to sit. It's easier, I find, to put the waterfall pages on a base and then attach the base into the book. So that's going to actually just lay right on top of the pocket. So let's get your the six waterfall tags that we made, and we're going to fold along that 1/2 inch score line. Sorry, I forgot I actually meant to have these all but one ready to go. Okay, so then I just like to line this up in my scoreboard again up against the edge because it makes it easier to keep everything aligned. Take some glue. You can use score tape for this as well because this is not a pocket. Line everything up. Try to keep this edge clean. You know, this without it going over that edge. So if you concentrate on pushing it towards the side, you know, the left side of the scoreboard, it should keep everything straight. Then I come in here, make sure I don't have any overhang. It's inevitable. One of them always is a jerk. You have to figure it out. All right, let's just keep going. Okay, line it up. Okay, so you see there you have two, and they're lining up very nicely so far. But that's two. There's still 4 to go. Anything could happen. All right. Number 3. Now see, that one's off just a bit, but that could be the way I cut it. But that's okay. We will put it in the trimmer and get rid of that. Number 4. So you can see that tiniest little bit right there that's off. But again, we'll shave that right off. Or you can leave it. It's handmade. Yours will probably look much better than mine. We definitely have some talented people out there in the scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations and other groups. I know we all kind of follow a bunch of different people. All right, and then the very last one. Okay. Oops. All right, so there you go. Not too shabby, huh? Looks pretty good. The more you do this, the more practice you get, and the better you get at it. You'll get at it. So yeah, so this, again, you can do this from the top down waterfall, or you can do like I did in my book. I did from the bottom up. But I think for this one, I'm going to do mine from the top down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some score tape. I think this is a 3/8 inch. And I'm going to use score tape to hold this onto the pocket. Since it's fuzzy everywhere. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a bunch. I should have actually put this on before I started. You know, the last thing you want to do is sit here and watch me tape a piece of paper. You know, this is probably a little bit of overkill with the score tape, but, you know, I think is better safe than sorry. I can always buy more, which I did. So, thank goodness for Country Craft Creations. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a burnish there. Alright, so let's bring the book back in. Remove that backing. Reveal the adhesive. Alright, so I'm going to turn mine upside down again. Put it in my scoreboard up against the edge. And just, so here's my waterfall base. And I am going to line, I want to make sure that you don't go over the pocket opening, because then everything will stick to your base. Ask me how I know. And just really give it a good burnish. Then I come in, actually I can move that away. I use the blunt end of my, what is this, bone folder. You could use this end, but you know, I just feel like this side gets in there better. I would not use anything sharp. Just to make sure this sticks down, makes good contact. Okay. So there we have our waterfall pages. Hope you can see that. So then we have our closure. Let's make sure, fold along that score line. Burnish. So you can decide if you want to put your closure at the bottom. So you could probably have fit maybe one more, maybe two more flaps if you wanted. But I like to kind of keep it even. So you can put your closure right there, or you can just line it up down here. I kind of like to do that. But I think what I'm going to do, just to give it a little room to grow after you put pattern paper down or pictures or whatever. So I scored this at 1/2 inch, if you recall. I'm going to go ahead and also give it another 1/8 inch. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. So, and then I'm gonna, that actually just makes an extra little gusset. So you have something that looks like that. You see that? So that when you put this down, there's going to be a little bit of room for these to expand, you know, after you put photos in, whatever. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me, but, I mean, that's my simple mind, but. So I'm just going to put some glue. Again, you can use score tape at this point. And then center that up along the bottom. Again, I put mine at the bottom. You might decide to put yours at the end of your flaps. Okay. And then you can choose whatever closure you'd like for your waterfall. I'm just going to stick with the magnets because I have them. I don't always have them, but I stocked up. Okay. I'm going to do this one more time real. My thing's metal. Oh, come on! Oh, I tell ya. Is it just me? Please tell me you watch other people and they have these same issues. Please, please, please. Okay. So, that might be a bit close. That's a little bit too close. So, dang. So, as I was saying, you don't want to be that close. See how that's so close to the edge? But it is what it is. Okay, oh, that's because I put that extra little 1/8 inch I lost in the length. Okay, whatever. Okay, there we go. So that has, you can see how that has a little room to bounce up. So, yeah, there is our waterfall. Love these waterfalls. Thank you, Tammy Merrill, for coming up with the idea of the waterfall base. Makes it so much easier for me anyway. Yeah, so that's our book. And you can go ahead at this point and you can put your pattern paper on, decorate your cover, add your binding, and just make the project your own. So, oh, let me show you. By the way, this was the set 5x7 booklet. And then again, we just scored that in half and then we burnished it. And it just kind of sits inside there. And then you can put some other tags, some cut aparts, whatever you have. And yeah, so that is your book. I hope you like it. I hope you'll make it. And if you do, I'd love to see it. So you can tag me on social media. I'm Anne Marie Cho 40 pretty much everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Where else am I? YouTube. So, or just tag me in the Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. You know, I'd love to see whatever you make. I always get such a kick out of when people make one of my books. So thank you very much for your time. Yeah, we're at 1 hour and 11 minutes. Not too bad. So I hope to see you all again soon. And bye for now. Thanks.